It's Karen from the Geordie Grandma. Welcome back to my channel, and this is week 6 of the summer body challenge in collaboration with at Busy Bee Marie, at Maria Crocker, and at Tina's Talk Time, also known as the Transatlantic Housewives of YouTube. So what we're doing is, if you don't already know, we're doing a 10-week challenge to kind of motivate each other, lose a bit of weight, get fit, get healthy, and hopefully feel happier. We're all doing different healthy eating ways of life, diets if you want to call it that. Busy Bee Marie is doing the 16-8 fasting. Maria Crocker is doing Slimming World, and Tina is doing, I think she's doing the Cambridge 1-to-1, I think it's called, which is meal replacement shakes. And myself, I'm doing low carb, which means that I'm eating under 130 grams of carbs a day. So basically I'm not eating any bread, pasta, rice, potatoes, trying to cut out chocolate, crisps, cakes, biscuits, that kind of thing. So this is week 6. How has my week gone? I have to be honest and say it hasn't gone well. And I kind of knew it wasn't going to, and it was my own fault for not planning properly. But it was a bank holiday weekend again. Milo's in the background, so behave yourself, Milo. Yeah, it was a bank holiday weekend, and I also took 2 days holiday from work, so I had 5 days off, and it kind of went downhill. I tried to not eat stuff that were carbs, but it just didn't work out like that. So I had, what did I eat that was bad? I've had to write it down here so I remember. We went to Costa. I do have a hot chocolate from Costa on a Friday, but I'm usually at work. We have a Costa at work. I work in a hospital, and I usually have a hot chocolate at work, and then I would stop there and not have anything else. But I went to Costa with Warren, and I had the hot chocolate, and we had like a chocolate pastry as well, which was a big mistake. And to be fair, I didn't really enjoy it that much. It wasn't, brilliant. I also had a Snickers. I don't even know why I had the Snickers. I'm not particularly fond of Snickers, but it was in the house, so I had the Snickers. I think we'd got them for the kids or something. I also had a McDonald's. We did have the grandchildren over the weekend, and they do like to go to McDonald's, and usually I can not eat when I'm there. I'll just have a coffee, but for some reason, I don't know whether it was because I felt I was in holiday mode, but I had a fish burger and a fries. I didn't have the apple pie, so that was good. And I've also been buying, I've talked about the Callow rice cakes before, and I usually get the dark chocolate ones, and I picked up the milk chocolate ones by accident, and I think the milk chocolate, obviously it's different to the dark chocolate, but it makes me want to eat more of them. So I have been eating more of the Callow cakes, Callow rice cakes as well. So I need to go back to having the dark chocolate ones, because the milk chocolate seem to give me that craving that I want more sweet stuff. I still seem to be focusing on treats too much. Snacky foods, which I'm trying to get away from. You probably already know this, but I'm type 2 diabetic. So one of the reasons I wanted to do low carb was because you're taking in less sugar, which is better for type 2 diabetes, and it has been proven that low carb diets help to get type 2 diabetes under control as well as lose weight. So the whole point of me doing this 10-week summer body challenge was to get my blood sugar levels down, and the weight loss is an added bonus. So that's why I wanted to cut the sweet stuff. I have had some good things this week. It hasn't been a complete disaster. I did have some egg fried cauliflower rice, which I'd seen a couple of people on YouTube make, and I thought that looks tasty. So we tried that, which was basically cauliflower rice. We actually had some frozen cauliflower rice in the freezer, so we used that, and it had pepper and onion and spring onion in it, a bit of soy sauce, some garlic, some ginger, obviously some egg, you kind of scramble the egg into it and fry it all up. And I added some meat-free bacon as well, and Warren had some ordinary bacon with his. And that was actually really filling. It didn't look like it was going to be because it was just like cauliflower. But it is really filling, and it doesn't really taste like cauliflower when you fry it up. So I did enjoy that, and I would have it again, and I would possibly try it with some different things in. I also had some avocado salsa, which I made last week when I had the tuna and avocado salsa with that. And there was some left over after I had that, so I had it for my breakfast the next day, and I had the avocado salsa with some hard-boiled eggs, and that was really nice. Now usually avocado, when it's been, you know, opened, it goes a funny colour when you've left it in the fridge for a while, but I think because I had lime juice in the avocado salsa, it kind of kept the colour. So that was really nice, and I would definitely have that again. But my problem this week was definitely in the planning. So I need to start doing that a little bit more. Now this week the focus is on sugar or no sugar. Trying to cut down on sugar, which is a type 2 diabetic, that's what you want to do. You want to cut down on sugar. You know, if you eat too much sugar, you put weight on. You know, I've spent 40 years eating cakes and chocolate and biscuits and crisps, and it ends up in a, you know, if you overeat them, which I have done over the last 40 years, you just put loads of weight on. And my weight's crept up and up and up over the years. I've been up at, you know, 19 stone. I've been down at 11 stone. At the minute I'm around the 14 and a half, and we'll do the weigh-in later to see if I've put weight on or lost weight. So yeah, eating, you know, sugary things isn't good for you, and the sugar in everything, which, you know, if they tell you, some diets say, you know, eat low fat, so you'll get a low fat yogurt, but if you actually look at the ingredients on it, it's actually got quite a lot of sugar in it. So on low carb, you avoid low fat. You want to eat fat, but you want to eat good fats. So if you're eating lots of sugary things, you put weight on. It does make you feel tired eating sugary things. I know before I started the low carb, when I was at work, I'd be practically falling asleep at my desk after my lunch, after I'd had bread or, you know, a bar of chocolate or something. It does make you tired eating sugary foods. It can make you spotty. You know, if I've been having a binge on cake or chocolate or whatever, I do find my skin looks worse, you know, over the next few days after it. So it can make you spotty. And if you eat sweet stuff, it makes you crave sweet stuff. If you don't eat it, you don't crave it. I'm not quite sure why that is. There's some scientific reason around that. But if you eat sweet stuff, you crave more sweet stuff. So it's easier not to eat it. And as a diabetic, obviously, it can, you know, it'll raise your blood sugar, which we don't want when we're diabetic. So if it does all those things, why do I continue to eat sweet stuff? Well, because it makes you feel good, doesn't it? It does taste nice while you're eating it. It's like a reward, you know, when I've heard us say to the grandkids, you know, if you eat your dinner up, you know, you can get some sweets. Why do we do that? You know, I'm sure my mum used to, or my nana used to say that to me when I was young, you know, if you eat all your greens, you can get some pudding. It's kind of the savoury stuff, the good stuff that you should be eating is kind of like a bad thing. But if you eat it, you can have the thing that's nice, which is the wrong way to think about it, really, isn't it? I remember my auntie, great aunt she was, unfortunately she's no longer with us, but she always used to say, have you got a biscuit? She says, tea's too wet without a biscuit. And I know what she means, do you know? I know exactly what that means. It's coffee or tea is too wet without the biscuit. So you feel like you have to have the chocolate biscuit or the ginger snap or whatever. And you get to thinking, do I actually want the cup of tea or the cup of coffee? Or is it the biscuits that I want? And if you cut the biscuits out, you can actually enjoy the tea or coffee more, I think. What do you think? Would you agree with that? I keep looking at my notes here. So we talked about, you know, strategies to, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, we talked about strategies to keep your mind off binging or emotional eating comfort eating and eating all the, you know, the chocolates and biscuits and crisps that you really don't want to eat, but you do. But talked about ways of coping with that, you know, like reading a book or going for a walk or having a telephone conversation with a friend, something like that. But sometimes they don't work and you just want something sweet. I mean, how many times have you sat watching the TV? If anything like me, I've sat watching a film and I've mindlessly ate a whole bag of minstrels, like a sharing bag of minstrels. I could eat the whole lot. So sometimes you just want something sweet, don't you? So if I know that I want something sweet, I need to plan and make something that is sweet but has got very little sugar in it. And there's loads of alternatives around. If I went to Sainsbury's, say, before I started the low carb, sorry, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. No. Before I started the low carb, we would pick up a pack of donuts, and the donuts, they always come in 5s. Why is that? Why do they come in 5s? There's always one spare, and I'm usually the one that ended up eating it. But you buy a pack of vanilla custard donuts from Sainsbury's, and I've just wrote down some macros here for them. In one donut, there's 267 calories, which if you're low carb, you're not really counting calories. But there is 37 grams of carbs in a vanilla custard donut, which is a lot if you're only having 130 for the day. And if you were doing keto, that would be way more than you should have for the day. And out of those 37 grams of carbs, 19 grams of that was sugar. So that's a lot of sugar you're eating in one donut. And I would definitely eat 2, if not 3. So they were really bad. So instead of having the Sainsbury's vanilla custard donut, I came across a recipe for a keto blueberry donut. I'll put some pictures here, which look really tasty. You would just have to put a little bit of thought into it beforehand so you had them ready. But in the keto blueberry donut, there's 183 calories, 11 grams of carbs, but only 1 gram of sugar. So, you know, that's really doable. You could quite easily have one of those and have no problem. I'm assuming with a lot of things like that, you can freeze them, so you're not tempted to eat more than one. Biscuits, you know, like I'm talking about having biscuits with a cup of coffee. And so in a chocolate digestive, there's 83 calories in one chocolate digestive. There's 10 grams of carbs just in one. And of the 10 grams of carbs, 5 grams of that is sugar. And you wouldn't stop at one chocolate biscuit, or I wouldn't. You know, I would probably eat half the packet. So you can kind of see how I've gotten to where I am with my weight. And although eating sugary things doesn't cause diabetes, even though people think it does not cause type 2 diabetes. But if you're overweight, you're more likely to get type 2 diabetes. So you can see why these things have happened. So instead of having the chocolate digestive, you could make some keto cookies. And I believe Busy Bee Marie is making some sugar-free cookies over on her channel, so don't forget to go and watch after you've seen this one. But in a keto cookie, the one I found online, I'll link all of these recipes below. There's 71 calories in one of the keto cookies. There's only 2 grams of carbs and there's no sugar in it at all. So you could probably have more than one of those and be quite happy. And a lot of these things taste really nice. So that was the keto cookies. What else do I like to eat? Cake. I'm a big fan of cake. I had a phase where before I started this low carb in the last 6 weeks, I had a phase where every night I'd be calling into Aldi or Sainsbury's and picking up a cake. I don't know why, I just felt like I needed a cake at the end of the day. But I don't have any macros for a cake because I just eat so much variety of them. But I found a recipe for a keto mug cake, which sounded really good, and I've actually made some. So I'll just slot that in here. Ba ba da ba ba ba. So the keto mug cake is 246 calories for one, 5.1 grams of carbs, which is really good, and only 1.3 grams of sugar. In that mug cake, that was a vanilla one, and I put some strawberries and cream with it, as you saw. You could put some some 85% dark chocolate in there, some cocoa powder in there. You could kind of chop up some strawberries and put them in there. So there's lots of different things you could do with that. They're really quick. They only take about 4 minutes to make. I think it was like 90 seconds in the microwave. And they were really tasty, and they're very filling. And I don't think I would want to eat them every day, because I think that probably wouldn't be good for you. And you shouldn't be wanting to eat puddings all the time. But if you're really craving something and you don't want to go for the high carb, high sugar donuts and things like that, then one of these mug cakes is a really good idea. So I highly recommend that. Again, I'll put the link to the recipes down below. You'll probably notice that a lot of the keto cakes and biscuits are very similar in calories, but they are lower in carbs and sugar, which means there's more healthier ingredients in them, and it's not going to spike my glucose levels either. So they are good if you're type 2 diabetic, and you're not going to crave more because there's not lots of sugar in, so you probably won't crave lots of them. Okay, let's get to the weigh-in. As you can see, I've put weight on this week. I've put 2 3/4 pounds on, which is not good, but I kind of knew that was going to happen after my 5 days off. I knew that was going to happen. I am a little bit disheartened about that, because I'd lost £7 previously, and now I'm kind of back to just losing £4. But I'm not devastated. I did take my blood sugar this morning, so this was before I had my breakfast and before I took my medication. I take metformin, so I hadn't done that. I had taken it over the weekend at roughly the same time, before the medication, before I'd had food, and it was at 11, which is on the high side. It always is a little higher in the morning, but it was 11, and it has been under 10, in the previous weeks. And I took it this morning and it was only 8.3, so that was good. So even though I've put weight on, my blood sugars are still looking like I've got them under control. I will be going for my proper HbA1c blood test at the doctor's in about 3 weeks time, so I'm hoping that's come down when I go for that, and I'll share that with you when I get the results. So I'm not going to be devastated about that 2 3/4 pound weight gain. I've got back on track a couple of days ago now, so the weekend is coming up, so I'm going to try and stay in the motivated zone. And I usually ask, say the question at the end of these videos, what did I learn? And I learned that I'm not practicing what I'm preaching. I'm not taking my own advice. And I think on week 1, what I learned was that I needed to plan, and I'm not doing it. And I really need, that is what I've learned, that I've learned that I'm learning nothing. So I am learning that now, that I do need to plan. If I don't plan, I just go right off track. So this week, probably Saturday morning, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to plan what I'm going to eat for the rest of the week, and then go out and buy the stuff, and hopefully that'll help us stick to, you know, what I'm supposed to be doing a little bit better. What about you? Do you plan, or do you find if you don't plan that you go off track? Just, you know, let us know in the comments below. I have gotten some lovely comments from everybody, you know, for these videos, and I really appreciate, you know, everything everybody says. Any tips, any advice, anything like that, any encouragement, I'm really happy to hear it, so thank you for sharing those. Now, last week, Tina from Tina's Talk Time set us a challenge, which we've been trying to do each week, challenging each other to do a different thing. And this week, Tina challenged us to play a childhood game, which I thought was a fab idea. I did do a video when I first started YouTube about, I think it was 7 childhood games I remembered. And this was one of the childhood games that I used to love. And I hope some of you can remember it. I used to play elastics. So what you do is you get yourself a bag of elastics and you join them all together and you make one big hoop. Now, we used to play elastics in 2 different ways when we were kids, and we play this for hours, and it's really good exercise. So I thought, well, I'll try this for this video. The one I'm going to show you is where you usually have 3 people. So there's two people standing with the elastics around their ankles, and the other person is doing the jumping in the middle. I've had to put the elastics around the legs of 2 chairs because I didn't have 2 other people, although I did play this with the grandkids at the weekend and they actually loved it. So I'm going to pop the video in here of me playing elastics just so you can see what it was like. So that was me attempting to play elastics like I used to do when I was like 10. And my God, I'm so unfit. You don't realise until you do start to be quite energetic how unfit you've got. I was shattered afterwards, and I'd only done it for like 2 minutes. But can you imagine if you were doing that every day? Like you used to when you were kids. I wasn't overweight as a kid, and that's probably why, because we were playing that all day long. So thanks, Tina, for setting that challenge. I really enjoyed it. I challenge you to go and get some elastic bands and try it yourself. It's a lot of fun. We also used to play it where, you know, the 2 people would hold an end, and then you'd put it at your ankle and the person would jump over that, and then you'd put it to your knee and you'd try and jump over that. And I seem to remember you used to get a shoulder and head and you'd have to try and jump over it. I don't think I ever managed it, but I definitely couldn't manage it now. But I did really enjoy the game of elastics, so thanks for that, Tina. Now, next week, we're going to be talking about processed food, which for me is a good thing. I don't eat a lot of, well, I don't eat any ready meal kind of things, but I do eat a lot of plant-based foods because I don't eat meat. So it'll be interesting for us to look into that and see exactly what's in the plant-based food and how that would affect a low-carb lifestyle. So if you're interested, that's coming up next week. So if you enjoyed this video, please go over and watch at Busy Being Marie, at Tina's Talk Time, and at Maria Crocker to see how they've done this week and how they've coped with things that are sugar-free. Like I say, I think Busy Being Marie's made some sugar-free cookies, so that will be interesting. Maria and Tina may have done something as well. So I hope you found that interesting. That's all I've got for you today. Hopefully next week I'll have lost weight. But like I say, we're concentrating on the blood sugar rather than the weight loss, and I am feeling a lot healthier. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. So bye for now.